Have you ever felt as though life is passing you by, that you don't have a firm plan for the future, or that every time you try to make plans, they never come to fruition? Or that other people seem to have it all sorted out and their plan seems to go flawlessly? Today's video is all about backcasting, which is a method that successful people and businesses have been using for years and years, and it's a guaranteed way to make sure your plans come to fruition. So let's dive straight in. So, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? Now, this is perhaps the most cliched business interview question you can ever be asked. It's a cliche for a reason. It's a cliche because it's the most meaningful question any interviewer can ask you. The reason is they're not interested in where you actually see yourself in 5 years' time. They're interested in whether you've given thought to where you're going to be in 5 years' time and how you're going to get there. Now, this is where the backcasting comes in. If the answer to that question is, I'm going to be head of the marketing department in 5 years' time, and they say, but you're interviewing for a job in the mailroom, how's that going to be? Well, I've planned it out. I know exactly the steps I'm going to take. And you can literally go from the mailroom to the head of marketing or the CEO of the company in a time scale, as long as you plan it properly. And this is how you do it. As Stephen Covey once wrote in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, you have to start with the end in mind. And this is exactly what he was talking about having a very specific goal. And in this case, I'm going to use the example of a monetary net worth in a time scale. And I'm going to say an arbitrary figure of £1 million net worth in 5 years' time. So let's say the target is £1 million in 5 years. So we're going to go money against time. Time and money. And that's going to be 0. My net worth today is £0. And in 5 years' time, it's going to be 1 million. And here's time. So we've got 5 years there. And so therefore we have 4 years there, 3 years there, 2 years there, 1 year there, and today there. So £1 million in 5 years' time looks like there. So how am I going to get from 0 today to £1 million in 5 years' time? Now, this is a simplistic drawing because, as everybody knows, the path is never going to be linear. It's usually going to be exponential. It's going to be a lot of hard work at the beginning, and then when it kicks off, it'll grow exponentially. But let's just keep it simple for now. So your £1 million, we can split it into, let's say, 500k is there, 250 is there, 750 is there, and we can then plot where is 750. 750 is going to be at roughly at the 4-year mark, 500 is going to be at the 3-year mark, 250 is going to be at the 2-year mark, and probably, I'm guessing, 100 at the 1-year mark. So already we have a plan. We know where we need to be at various milestones to give us that net value, that net worth of £1 million in 5 years' time. When I'm doing a video on Instagram, for example, it will say, here's how many views you've had. And it will plot time and views. And it will say your normal videos go like that. And this video is going like that. And I'll go, oh, I'm off track. There's no way that's going to get back on track. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it kinks up like that and then goes stratospheric. Other times it starts off going stratospheric, and other times it follows the exact path. But if you know what that path looks like, because I know that my average video will do, let's say, 100,000 views, that dotted line represents the path to 100,000 views. So I know from previous history where that path's going to take me. If the trajectory is below that line, then I know I'm unlikely to hit the 100,000 with that video. On the opposite side, if it's going above that line, I know it's likely to do 250,000, maybe 1 million views. So it's helpful to see where the trajectory is, and it's exactly the same with your performance in business. Now, by the way, I'm using this for net worth as a very simple example. You could do it for so many different parts of your life. You can use it for relationships, you can use it for your career, you can use it for your business, you can use it for your social media presence, as I did. 2 years ago, I wasn't really on social media. A year and a half ago, I started looking at this and saying, if I want to have, and at the time I was looking at getting 100,000 followers on social media. I've now got 700,000 followers on TikTok and Instagram, and I've just started doing YouTube. So I use this exact method, and I said, where do I need to be if I want to get 100,000 followers in a year's time? Plot it there. Where does that leave me in 9 months' time, in 6 months' time, in 3 months' time? Oh, I need to get started. I need to start getting videos out and start just doing it. And I did. And it feels awkward, it feels strange to be doing things with no audience, but you just do it because you know you've got to, because you know you need to get to your first 1,000 followers and your first 10,000 views and your first 100,000 views. I've now had over 100 million views. If you told me 2 years ago I'd have had 100 million views in that time scale, I'd have thought you were ridiculous, because you can't conceive of it in your mind. But it happens, but it doesn't start until you get your first 1,000 views. So, and it's the same with money. It doesn't happen until you get your first £1,000 in the bank, your first 1,000 sales, your first 10 sales. So what we need to do to get to the million is plot it back and say where we need to be at different milestones. And you can then, whatever your milestones are, you can plot them on the graph and you can say, okay, well, by this chart, I'm off target. I need to step it up. Whatever I'm doing at the moment, in terms of picking the phone up and talking to customers, in terms of marketing, in terms of pay-per-click advertising, in terms of putting videos out and trying to encourage people to buy my products, it's not working. I need to be doing more, or I need to be doing different. I need to look at it again, because at the moment I'm off track. So you need to, that path, it may be meaningless. It's all it is an average of previous performance, but it shows you where you're heading if you carry on the same path. And the same is true with life. If you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. I'm going to let you into a secret. My target, because I thought that financial success and followers went hand in hand, I said, well, and it was on advice that I did it this way. I started off looking for the following and thinking, I'll worry about the money later. I'm now 700,000 followers later, and I've not monetized my content anywhere near where it needs to be. So if you take your eyes off the prize, my eyes were on the prize of the big following, and I got that, but I've not yet put the focus on the financial side, and that's where I now need to be. I'm going to tell you a very brief story, and the reason for this, I was sitting at the end of last year with a friend of mine called Mike, who was a financial advisor in his day, and he was just chatting in random conversation, and he said, how's your pension looking? And I said, I don't have one. He said, well, what savings have you got? I said, I don't have any savings. He said, what about investments? I said, I don't have investments. I live hand to mouth. I always have. My business sometimes has good months and very often has bad months, and I'm in debt more often than I'm out of debt. So the idea of planning for my future is a non-starter most months. It's a luxury when I can get to the end of the month and there's a few pounds left in the bank account. He said, well, you're 52 years old. How are you going to retire? I said, I don't really plan to retire. That's the beauty of it. I've got a job that I love and I never need to retire. I'll just keep working until, he said, it's not about working until you drop. It's about having the choice. What if in 10 years' time, you're in your early 60s, your mid 60s, your late 60s, and you say, I'm exhausted. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to retire. I want to take it easy. I want to go and see the world. I want to go and enjoy time with my grandkids. I want to go and take them on a holiday. I want to buy a new car. If you're spending all of your time working, you may enjoy your job, but it's not paying the bills. So he said, I'm going to level with you. You need to save up £1 million in the next 10 years. It's as simple as that. I did a backcast on the £1 million in 10 years. And obviously, if you invest it over the time, that money's going to grow as well. So you're probably only talking about 500,000 or 600,000 rather than the million, because that will grow into the million over 10 years if it's invested properly. However, I don't have 500 pence, let alone £500,000. So it's a big mountain to climb. The key to making backcasting work, if you've ever listened to a man called Bob Proctor, who talks about the law of attraction, the law of vibration, and that you attract what you think about. This is all part of the backcasting model. The law of attraction basically says if you imagine yourself in a reality, then your brain will attract things that will make that reality come true. That's this in a very simplistic nutshell. But if you can say, when I have £1 million in the bank, this is what my life is going to look like. Oh, £1 million in the bank. I'm going to be able to drive that Ferrari. I'm going to have that lovely house. I'm going to have holidays in the Caribbean whenever I want. Obviously it's not. £1 million these days isn't a gateway to that, to the millionaire's lifestyle, because it's after you've bought your house and a car and a few holidays, it's very quickly gone. However, whatever the figure is that you need to give yourself that lifestyle, you can imagine what your life's going to look like. Now, you can imagine the nicest holiday you've been on, where the waiter's coming over with a lovely chilled drink and you're sitting in the sunshine without a care in the world. That's what life can look like when you've achieved your financial freedom. So you have that in mind. You have that car that your friend drives that you're very jealous of, that you want, and that can be yours. Or imagine I'm gonna have that car, I'm gonna have the Porsche, I'm gonna have the Ferrari, and people are gonna look at me and be envious of me for a change. And if that's what motivates you, these are the things that you think about. I'm gonna have that watch, I'm gonna have that fancy watch that I've always wanted. Oh God, I'll buy myself a Rolex. And whatever these things are, you keep them and hold them in your mind, because that is the motivator that's going to pull you forward towards this £1 million goal, or whatever that goal may be. So quite simply, you set the targets in the future and you put milestones all along the way to make it realistic. Because just as I said before, if you said, right, your target is 100 million views on social media, not a chance, not a chance. I'm not even going to get started because it's unrealistic. If you said your target is 1,000 followers and 10,000 views, oh, hang on a second, I can do that. Oh, I can do that. Yeah, let's get started. Let's get some ideas going. I can do 1,000. You get to 1,000 and then your goal becomes 5,000. Your goal becomes 10,000, and you break it down into nibbles. Again, it's the journey of the 1,000 miles starts with the first step. If you don't do the first step, you're never going to get anywhere along the line. Now, there are people in life that you'll meet every day who are quite happy to be whatever job they're in. I don't want to put down anybody who is happy with their job. In fact, there is something very, very liberating. I'm going to use the example of a postman. because a postman is a job that you could do for 70 years and it doesn't change. You pick up your bag of mail, you deliver your letters and your parcels every day, and you can do that all your life until you retire. If you're happy with that, if that is a job that brings you happiness or funds the life that you need, then there is something incredibly liberating about that. This is about the people who have dreams that are financially based. If you are a teacher and you are happy to be a classroom teacher all of your life until you retire, and many are, I have the utmost admiration for the people who are happy with what they have, because you're not on a hamster wheel. You're not constantly chasing something. You're not constantly chasing the next promotion and the next step up. Oh, when I get the next step up and the next step up, I'll be happy. And you're never, ever happy. The person who has accepted that they have everything that they need at the level they're at has achieved proper happiness. So when I'm talking about the people who are happy with their life as it is, and they don't have these dreams and aspirations, there's a lot to be said for that as well. However, the people that are happy with their same life will never be millionaires in a traditional sense. They'll never have that millionaire lifestyle, and they've accepted that, and they don't want it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a choice. And as I say, there's something very liberating about not wanting the millionaire lifestyle, because that in itself brings its own headaches, even though people who aren't millionaires can't see it at the time. They think as soon as they become millionaires, all of their problems will be over, but they're not. It introduces totally new problems that you've never even thought of. However, I have an ambition to walk from John O'Groats, the very northern tip of Scotland, to Land's End, and that I've checked on Google Maps today that to walk that is 813 miles. And it says you will do this in 297 hours. You look at the top figure, 813 miles. Not a chance. Not a chance. So most people that do this will say, okay, let's say Land's End down here, Norfolk and Scotland and Wales, very roughly. So we're going Land's End, and Google Maps plots the path all the way down, John O'Groats, all the way down to Land's End. And that's your 813 miles. Now, if I set off today to do that, I would collapse after maybe 15 miles, I'm guessing, 20 miles maybe. I'm not prepared, I'm not trained. I don't know how I would do it. So you set yourself a target and say, how would we do this? Now, in my mind, I would say 30 days. 30 days of doing 10 hours a day. And by the way, that works out at a shade below 2.7 miles an hour, which is a very gentle walking pace. It's a stroll. A brisk walking pace is about 4 miles an hour. So a gentle walking pace, 2.7 miles an hour, is a very gentle pace. However, even 30 days, I'm looking at, 30 miles a day. 30, I've never walked 30 miles in a day in my life. So I'm going to need to get training. So all of a sudden, I've broken this journey down from one 800-mile journey to 30 chunks. And as soon as you've put it down, I've no idea if this is 30 or not, but it's now bite-sized chunks. But even then, it's too much to do right now. What do I need to do? I need to start training. So tomorrow, I get out and do my first 10-mile walk. just to get prepared. Oh, I can't because I don't have the right equipment. I need to get the right shoes, the right outerwear. I need to get build up my stamina. So I'll need to get some nutrition. I need to work. I might need to lose a bit of weight. So these are all things I need to start thinking about as well. And you start to plan. You start to prepare, and say, well, when am I going to do this? Okay, I'll give myself 10 weeks to get myself fully prepared, fit, ready, and good to go, that I know I'll be able to do it. I'll get the right equipment. By then it will be into the summer. The weather will be nice. I'll be more ready to go. So there's my goal of 10 weeks time. When would that be? Let's say, I don't know, middle of July or something. So there's the goal. July. I've now got something to aim towards. And I can break down between now and July. I can break down the training, the nutrition, the weight loss, the equipment, all of the things I need to do. I can break it down into small steps. And as soon as you do that, you can do a to-do list for each day. Oh, I need to go out and buy some shoes. Well, how many pairs of shoes am I going to go through? Over 813 miles. Maybe I need to get a sponsor. Maybe I need to find a shoe sponsor who's going to give me 30 pairs of shoes for my 30-day journey. Whatever, you can see what I'm talking about. You can break it down so that by the time the day comes to start the walk, you know it's going to happen. You know it's going to work because you've been, all that is the pinnacle that you've been walking towards. Pardon the expression, but you've been going towards this crescendo. If I did it today, there would be a 1% chance that I would complete it. If I prepare and get ready over the next 10 weeks, there's a 75%, 80% chance that I would do it, because I would know that my feet had hardened up because I'd been training. I'd been doing a 5 mile, a 10 mile, a 15 mile, a 20 mile walk to get ready for it. I know where my legs start to ache when I walk further distances. I know what nutrition I need, what electrolytes I need, what hydration I need. All of this preparation means that you've got a much better chance of being able to do it when it comes to the actual event. And it's the same with anything else. You set the goal and then you work back. What steps do I need to put in place in order to achieve that goal? And as I'm saying this, I quite fancy doing this challenge. I'm not going to do it, but maybe one day. So what we're saying when we see the full picture of what that looks like, what does that future look like that sees me being able to do this challenge? It looks like a lot of hard work. So where are the gaps? How do I fill the gaps between here and there? What skills am I lacking? What fitness, what equipment, what preparation, everything. What am I lacking that allows me to go from there to there? Who do I need to speak to? Do I need to start getting expert advice? Do I need to join groups on Facebook of people who have done this challenge? Do I need to start talking to stamina experts, and do I need to go for a medical checkup to make sure I'm up for it physically? So all of these things, you look at where you are today and then where you need to be, and you can see where the gaps are, and then you just plug the gap. Then you just plug the gaps. It's not as simple as that. You can see where the gaps are and you can work towards filling the gaps. So it's all about planning, breaking it down into the tiniest chunks, and then doing each one as a daily task. And all of a sudden, this mammoth challenge becomes doable. So what other things could you apply backcasting to? Well, think about your personal life. your relationship, your family. You might be single, but you might have a view that ultimately you want to have 3 children. And you say, okay, well, how do we go about doing that? Where do I need to start? Realistically, if I'm going to have 3 children, I need to have had the third one by then, the second one by then, the first one by then, and you backcast to where you need to be today. So if you think you are in your mid-20s, say, and you want to have 3 children and a husband by the time you're 35, I don't know, I'm making random ages up here, but you have to work it back and say where you need to be today. So this works for so many things you can do. I could say I've never done a fitness journey as such. Anytime I do a health or well-being thing, it's always, let's just start and see how it goes. I never put myself under any pressure. But if you say you're overweight and you want to lose a particular amount of weight, or you want to start to lose weight, if you start, again, Covey's 7 habits, start with the end in mind. Where do you want to be? If you're 18 stone and you know that a healthy weight for your age and height and build and so on would be 14 stone, okay, there we have. There's the first target. 4 stone, what's that? Nearly 60 pounds weight loss. That's the target. But within that, you can also say, well, I haven't done any exercise for the last 10 years. And so I'm going to get myself a treadmill and I'm going to do 250 yards a day on the treadmill. Not very much. 250. But what's the ultimate goal? The ultimate goal is I want to be doing 5K every day, and not on the treadmill. I want to be doing that out in the real world. Fresh air, mental health, 5K every day. So again, there's your target. You backcast it. I can't do 5K today. I'm too unfit, I'm too overweight, but let's see where you can get to. Well, let's say we'll set the target of getting to 5K by the end of the year. It'll work in tandem with the weight loss. So by the end of the year, I want to have lost 4 stones, be doing 5K every day. Right, 2 targets there. So you've not even talked about going to the gym or how you're going to lose the weight. This is just the target setting. So you go 60 pounds lost in 12 months, nice easy figures. That's £5 a month. That's just over £1 a week. There we go. Already it starts to sound manageable. £60 sounds like a real hefty target. Just over £1 a week, I can do that. 5K, that sounds a hefty target for somebody who's not exercised in a long time. But let's say we say, all right, we'll start off at 250 a day and work up from there. If we can say by the end of the first month, we'll be doing 1 kilometre. By the end of month, let's say we add 1 kilometre every 2 months, and we go January to December, and we're going nothing to 5K. We want to be doing 2.5K by July. So we'll be doing 2K by June. May will be 1.5. You see what I'm saying? 1K. I need to be doing 1K by February, and then we'll be up to 5K at the end of the year. That's written in your diary. That's written in your calendar. These are goals. What am I doing today? Oh, I'm up to 1.5K today because it's in the diary. That's what I'm doing. And it's no longer a massive hill to climb. So what I would like you to do today, right now, take 10 minutes to write down your goal, where you'd like to be, 2 things, your timescale and what it is. Whether it's a financial thing, a career thing, a family thing, a fitness thing, a health thing, a mental health thing, whatever it is, say what you want to achieve and in what timescale, and make a commitment to yourself by putting it into the comments and sharing it with the community. And we can all help each other to achieve our targets. People, if we can all contribute, if we can all help, if we can all encourage, that's going to be make a massive difference, because again, it's about accountability. It's so easy when you've only got yourself as your accountability to just decide, oh, I'm not going to do it today. If you're in a group and you want to get a level of accountability, commit to it and take it forward as a group and say what you're going to achieve. And then just imagine how amazingly proud you'd feel of your achievement if at the end of that time scale, you've achieved your goal. If you've enjoyed this and you found it useful, don't forget to subscribe, and you'll be the first to know about any new videos. So I hope you found this useful, and look forward to hearing in the comments what you're going to do. Until next time, take care, have a great day.